Okay. So today I'm going to be basically talking about us taking a closer look at what Psalms 23 tells us. Um, a lot of time, a lot of people associate Psalms 23 to funerals, funeral service, and comfort for the family during the time of death. But in all reality, these verses can provide comfort for our everyday living and support for our daily faith journey. We know that David, which was a shepherd boy, wrote Psalms, and later he was known as the shepherd king of Israel. He writes as a sheep would think and feel about his or her shepherd. So we know that the Lord is my shepherd, and it implies a profound yet practical working relationship between a person and the creator and savior. I belong to my shepherd because he created me as the object of his affection. He brought me back when I turned against him in sin, and he continually cares about me, not only me but all of us. So whenever we think about the Lord is my shepherd, we know that he is our savior, our creator. And so we know that no matter how we turn our backs on him in sin, he continually he continuously cares about us. And so if the Lord is my shepherd, then I shall not want. So there is nothing that is lacking in my life and nothing that I desire that he cannot provide within his will and within his timetable. However, as his sheep and as followers of Christ, we are not guaranteed immunity from the knocks of life and the problems of living in a flawed world. But we can claim a shepherd who will provide all of our needs. God is saying that he can provide all of our needs, anything that we want, anything that we desire, but we have to ask him for it. And we don't ask, we don't receive. We don't ask, we don't get. And we know that we are not going to always get what we want, but God is going to give us what he knows that we need in his time frame, not ours. We like to have stuff at a rush right now, but God is saying be patient. I got you, but it's not your time frame, but it's going to be my time frame because my timing is going to be the perfect timing for you and everything that you're going to need. And he makes me to lie down in green pastures. It gives us a picture of rest and assurance of us knowing that no matter where we at, no matter what we're going through, God is going to be there with us regardless, no matter what. Sheep will not lie down if they are afraid. If there's a conflict among other sheep, if bothered by insects or parasites, or if they are hungry, since we are his spiritual sheep, our shepherd us fear between and among each other, the aggravation of things that bug us, and he can satisfy the hunger that we have for heavenly things. It's then that we become creep down. we find that she heard the still water of a stream. So it says he leads me beside the still waters. Often dam up the fast water creek to form a quiet, still sometimes, however, she may go for days without water. The only source of water is the dew found on the grass in the early mornings. Many times it is in the stillness of the early morning in which we find the quenching of our thirst as we open our hearts to God in devotion and in prayer. That's like us with our 6 o'clock prayer. That's us getting the question that's the question of our thirst that we need from God. And that's the quenching of our thirst that he's given us during that time. That's our devotional time. That's our prayer time, which is 6 o'clock in the morning. It is in another song where we found the words, be still and know that I am God. God is found in the still waters. So the words, he restores my soul, indicate that even in the wonderful care of our shepherd, the still water and the green pastures, there are times when we need to be restored, repaired, renewed. There are times when we feel like we can't go on. Our bodies get tired. And we'll reach out to God. I need rest. God, I need to be restored. God, I need to be renewed because my spirit man is hunger for you. My spirit man needs something. My spirit man is at bother. There's an exact peril found in the world of sheep. Sometimes the sheep becomes of its center of gravity, will turn over on its back and be unable to get up by itself. For instance, in England, the shepherd's term for this condition is casting. A cast sheep will lie for days, even sometimes die on its back if it doesn't get help. We can get in that condition also. Maybe the word downcast describes our despair, discouragement, and our helplessness as we wander away from God and get into serious trouble. I can see Jesus coming to us as the good shepherd, turning us right side up and placing us on our feet. He restores our soul. Excuse me. So when we look back at it with a sheep and it says that they, lay down on their back and that's called casting. That's just like us. When we turn and astray from God, which is downcasted, which describes our despair, discouragement, our helplessness as we wander away from God and get into serious trouble. Even with us getting into serious trouble, Jesus always comes to our rescue. With him being the good shepherd that he is, he's turned us up on our right side, placing us on our feet. He's restoring our soul because we have wandered away from God. And sheep are creatures of habit with a tendency to go the same way to the same pastures until pastures are worn out, leaving nothing to eat. We have that same tendency. We can be assured, however, that our shepherd will lead us in the right path. It is Jesus who leads us into new pastures with abundance of food and opportunities. It is our responsibility to follow. We will starve to death spiritually if we stay behind in a worn out pasture. So here we know that God leads us to where we need to go. God leads us where we need to be. But if we decide that we are going to stay where we're at or stay in the situation that he bringing us out of, then we're going to die spiritually. So what that means is that God is taking us or bringing us out of a situation, or God is trying to get us to see that I'm bringing you out of the situation, but I need you over here and not over there. So that means we, as his sheeps, that means we have to listen very carefully to what God is telling us. We have to pay attention to all the signs that he's given us, because he's given us signs. Daily, he's given us signs. So, and Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I came so that we all, that's all of us, could have life, and so that we can have life to live to the fullest. John 10 and 10, 14 and 6, 14 and 6. But we must be willing to give up ourselves, pick up the cross of discipleship, and follow our shepherd into the paths of righteousness. And so what that means is that God is leading us into the path of righteousness for his name's sake, but it is up to us as the saints of God to follow what he is giving us, or following what he's telling us to do. But we, as the children of God, we like to do things our way. We like to do things out of the will of God.
You guys figure out which one y'all want
So
to do first.
when we do things out of the will of God and we do things on our own,
I'm not taking
what it does is it causes us to get into trouble.
No, thank you.
Causes us to be in trouble with God. Because God is saying,
will do,
that he got everything that we need. He has countless under thousands. If God is saying the birds don't have to worry about a place to lay their heads, why should we? If they got food to eat, why should we worry? But our thing as Christian is we don't want to follow what God is telling us. We don't want to do what God is telling us to do. If God is telling us to get out of a situation, if God is telling us that we need to go here, we need to listen as the saints of God, as his sheep. We need to listen to what God is telling us, because he would not lead us astray. He would not lead us in the wrong direction. He would lead us in the right direction. And for his name's sake, he will make sure that his sheep are good. He will make sure that his sheep are well taught. So he just won't let anybody teach his sheep. He just won't let anybody be shepherds over his sheep, over his flock. So we know that in Psalms 23, what it all boils down to is that God is our shepherd. We are his sheep. And that no matter what we need or what we are going through, he will supply all of our needs. Even when we are going astray, he will always come back and get us. But it's up to us to decide whether or not we are going to follow God, whether or not we are going to do his will. Because it's not our will, but it's his will. He wants to make sure with the leaders that he is giving us, he knows that he can trust them to be the shepherds over his sheep. He knows that they won't lead us astray. He knows that they are teaching his work, his will, directly, like how he has it written. So today the question is, are we the true sheep and followers of Christ, or are we doing things on our own? That's my reading for today. Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me beside the still waters. So whenever we look at Psalms 23, just know that it's basically telling us about our God, which is our shepherd, and we are his sheep. And that no matter what the situation may be, we don't have nothing to worry about because God got us. But we have to be the ones to understand and know that God got us.